National Economic Council approves 2 lakh crore taka revised annual development program for the current fiscal year 2025 to 2026. National Election Investigation Commission submits reports on 2014, 2018 and 2024 election to Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus. Measures must be taken to ensure that election robbery never happens again in Bangladesh, says Chief Advisor. The Election Commission upholds 41 appeals and rejects 24 while 4 kept pending on the third day of reviewing appeals against the decisions of returning officers. EU Election Observation Mission head meets Jamaat Amir, discussions held on upcoming parliamentary election. If BNP comes to power, due share of water to be obtained through discussions and maintaining mutual respect with India, says Mirza Fakhrul. Formal charges framed against Anisul Haq and Salman F. Rahman on 5 counts, including imposing curfew and aiding killing during July, are surprising. Iran warns to retaliate if attacked by the US. And Sylhet Titans defeat Rangpur Riders by 6 wickets, while Rajshahi Warriors beat Dhaka Capitals by 7 wickets in PPL today. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to news at 10 p.m. on BTV News. I'm Ulbi Islam with you tonight. You just heard the headlines. Now moving on to the details. The National Economic Council (NEC) approved 2 lakh crore revised annual development program (RADP) for the current fiscal, with the transport and communication sector witnessing the highest allocation. The approval came from a meeting held at the NEC conference room in the city's Shere Bangla Nagar area with Chief Advisor and NEC Chairperson Professor Dr. Mohammad Yunus in the chair. However, considering the autonomous bodies and corporations' own fund, the RADP size stood at 2,08,935 crore and 53 lakh taka. Members of the Advisors Council, members of the Planning Commission and secretaries concerned were present in the meeting. Planning Advisor Professor Dr. Wahiduddin Mahmood briefed reporters after the meeting. Of the 2 lakh crore taka for 2025 to 26 fiscal, 1,28,000 crore taka will come from domestic sources, while 72,000 crore will be financed from foreign sources. Compared to the original ADP, the revised program has seen a reduction of 16,000 crore taka from domestic financing and 14,000 crore taka from foreign sources, resulting in a total cut of 30,000 crore taka. In addition, the RADP allocation for autonomous bodies and corporations has been set at 8,935 crore 53 lakh taka, of which 8,930 crore 53 lakh taka will be financed from domestic sources and 5 crore taka from foreign sources. With this, the overall size of the RADP, including autonomous and corporate projects, has reached at 2,80,935 crore 53 lakh taka. The total number of projects under the revised ADP stands at 1,330. This includes 1,108 investment projects, while 35 feasibility study projects, 121 technical assistance projects and 66 projects being implemented by autonomous bodies and corporations using their own funds. A total of 286 projects have been earmarked for completion by June 30, 2026. The program also includes 170 projects funded by the Climate Change Trust Fund, reflecting the government's continued emphasis on climate adaptation and resilience. In terms of sectoral allocation, 5 sectors have received the highest priority under the revised ADP. These are transport and communication, power and energy, housing and community facilities, education and local government and rural development. On a ministry and division-wise basis, the highest allocations have gone to the local government division, followed by the road transport and highways divisions and the power division. The revised ADP has included some 856 new unapproved projects without allocation, while another 157 unapproved projects without allocation have been incorporated to facilitate access to foreign assistance. Additionally, 35 new unapproved projects without allocations have been included under the own financing of implementing agencies. A total of 81 public-private partnership PPP projects have also been included in the revised program. Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus said strong arrangements must be put in place to ensure that election fraud never happens again in Bangladesh, as he received the report of the National Election Investigation Commission covering the 2014, 2018 and 2024 elections. He said this after receiving the report at the State Guest House, Jamuna, today. Law Advisor Dr. Asif Nazrul, Industries Advisor Adil Rahman Khan, Information and Broadcasting Advisor Saida Rizwana Hassan and Cultural Advisor Mustafa Sarar Farooqi were present, along with Commission Chairman Justice Shamim Hasnain and members Shamim Al Mamun, Qazi Mahfuzul Haq Shupan, Barrister Tazrian Akram Hussain and Dr. Muhammad Abdul Alim. After submitting the report, members of the Commission discussed various aspects of their investigation. The Chief Advisor said the nation heard about vote rigging, but they shamelessly distorted the entire process, twisted the system and wrote verdicts on paper according to their own wishes. These findings must be presented to the nation. There needs to be a complete record. Professor Yunus said the entire nation had been punished by spending public money to conduct elections that deprived citizens of their voting rights. He said the people of this country watched helplessly but could do nothing. Those responsible must be identified so that the people can get some relief. Measures must be taken to ensure that election robbery never happens again in Bangladesh. Referring to the report, said between 2014 and 2024, the election system was effectively taken out of the hands of the Election Commission and placed under the control of the administration. During this period, the administration, not the Election Commission, became the dominant force in conducting elections. The Commission said the uncontested elections in 153 constituencies and the so-called contests in the remaining 147 seats in 2014 were fully orchestrated and carefully planned, and the arrangement was actually designed to keep the Army League in power. The Commission estimated that in the 2018 elections, ballot papers were sealed the night before voting at nearly 80% of polling centers, ensuring the Army League's victory. It also found that competition within the administration to secure wins for the Army League led to voting rates exceeding 100% in some centers. The report claimed that strategies for all 3 elections were formulated at the highest levels of the state and implemented using sections of the administration, police, election commission and intelligence agencies as instruments of the state. Later, the National Election Investigation Commission members briefed the reporters at outside of the State Guest House, Jamuna. Chief Advisor's Press Secretary Shafiqul Alam was present.
2014, 2018 আর 2024 ইলেকশন 3টা ইলেকশন বটে, কিন্তু এটার মাস্টার প্ল্যান কিন্তু একটা। এই মাস্টার প্ল্যানটা হয়েছে 2008 সালের পরে, যখন ফার্স্ট ইলেকশনটা হলো, যখন 2008 সালে আর্মিদের আন্ডারে ওই সময় কেয়ারটেকার গভর্নমেন্ট ছিল। ওই ইলেকশনের পরে ওখান থেকেই একটা স্ট্র্যাটেজি ছিল যে কেয়ারটেকার গভর্নমেন্টটাকে বাতিল করা। কেয়ারটেকার গভর্নমেন্ট সিস্টেমটা বাতিল করার জন্য 2011 15th অ্যামেন্ডমেন্টে ওটা বাতিল করা হয়। ওই সময় কেয়ারটেকার গভর্নমেন্টটা বাতিল করার পিছনে একটা লং টার্ম স্ট্র্যাটেজি ছিল। সেই লং টার্ম স্ট্র্যাটেজি হচ্ছে ইভেনচুয়ালি যে রুলিং পার্টি যতদিন ক্ষমতায় থাকতে পারে যে কোনো স্ট্র্যাটেজিতে যে কোনোভাবে, এখন তার জন্য কেয়ারটেকার গভর্নমেন্ট ওয়াজ রোড ব্লক, একটা বাধা ছিল।
2014 সালে 153টি আসনে বিনা প্রতিদ্বন্দ্বিতা এবং অবশিষ্ট 147টিতে প্রতিদ্বন্দ্বিতার নির্বাচন ছিল সম্পূর্ণ সাজানো এবং সুপরিকল্পিত। রাষ্ট্রের সর্বোচ্চ পর্যায়ের সিদ্ধান্ত অনুযায়ী আওয়ামী লীগকে ক্ষমতায় রাখতে এই বন্দোবস্ত করা হয়েছে।
6টা মাত্র সংসদীয় আসনে ইভিএমটা ব্যবহার করা হয়েছে। ইভিএমগুলো বেশিরভাগই অকার্যকর এবং আমরা আমাদের কমিশনের কাজে নির্বাচন কমিশন থেকে একটা ইভিএম আমরা চেয়েছিলাম পরীক্ষা করার জন্য। ইভিএমটা এনে আমরা চালু করতে পারিনি, ওইটা নষ্ট। আমরা তদন্ত করে বের করলাম যে এই প্রজেক্ট আসলে নির্বাচন কমিশনের ছিল না, এটা তৎকালীন প্রধানমন্ত্রীর যে নিরাপত্তা উপদেষ্টা তারেক আহমেদ সিদ্দিক এবং তার অনুসারে কিছু সামরিক কর্মকর্তা তারা জোর করে এটা নির্বাচন কমিশনের উপর চাপিয়ে দিয়েছিলেন।
একটা আসন কাটছাট করে এখান থেকে একটা ইউনিয়ন পরিষদ নিয়ে গেলেন, ওখান থেকে একটা অ্যাড করে দিলেন। এর ভিত্তিতে কিন্তু একটা প্রার্থীর ইলেকশন আপনি জিতাই দিতে পারেন। এখানে দেখা যাচ্ছে যে ডিলিমিটেশন আপনার 2008 সাল থেকে 14 সালে বলবো না, 2008 সাল থেকে একটা খুবই কন্ট্রোভার্সিয়াল একটা টপিক।
আমাদের যে ফাইন্ডিংস তার উপর বেস করে আমরা সবগুলো 40টি সুপারিশ বিভিন্ন ভাগে ভাগ করা আছে। শুরু হয়েছে নির্বাচন কমিশন নিয়োগ দিয়ে, তারপর আমরা নির্বাচন কমিশনকে দায়বদ্ধ করার একটা প্রস্তাব করেছি। সীমা নির্ধারণ নিয়ে নির্বাচন ব্যবস্থা সংস্কার কমিশনের সঙ্গে একটু মিলিয়ে আমরা একটা স্বাধীন সীমা নির্ধারণ কর্তৃপক্ষের কথা বলেছি। তারপরে আমাদের যে পলিটিক্যাল নিবন্ধন, এটার মধ্যে স্বচ্ছতা আনার জন্য আমরা কিছু সুপারিশ করেছি। আপনার গোয়েন্দা সংস্থার যে ভূমিকা, তাদের কার্যক্রমটাকে আমরা আরও সীমাবদ্ধ করতে বলেছি। ইলেকশন কমিশনের যে নিয়োগগুলো হয়, পেশার নিয়োগগুলো হয়, সেই পেশার নিয়োগ বন্ধ করার প্রস্তাব করেছি। নির্বাচন পর্যবেক্ষণে যে সরকারি তহবিল ব্যয় করা হয় সেটা বন্ধ করার কথা বলেছি আমরা, এবং যাতে করে ভুয়া পর্যবেক্ষক নিয়োগ না হয় তার প্রস্তাব করেছি। গণমাধ্যম নীতিমালা অর্থাৎ আপনাদের এক্সেস, সেটাকে আমরা আরও উন্মুক্ত করার কথা বলেছি। ইলেকট্রাল ইনকোয়ারি কমিটিগুলোকে আরও শক্তিশালী করার কথা বলেছি।
Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus has called on Japanese investors to expand investment in Bangladesh and recruit more Bangladeshi workers for employment in Japan, the world's fourth largest economy. Professor Yunus made the appeal when former Japanese First Lady Aki Abe and a delegation of Japanese entrepreneurs paid a courtesy call on him at the state guest house Yamuna in central Dhaka on Sunday. Ms. Aki Abe praised Professor Yunus's leadership in restoring peace and stability in Bangladesh and guiding the country's economic recovery. During the meeting, the chief advisor and the former First Lady discussed potential cooperation in investment, marine research, and the recruitment of caregivers and nurses for Japan, which is facing rapid population aging. Ms. Abe expressed particular interest in collaborating on efforts to prevent marine pollution. Professor Yunus informed the Japanese delegation that he plans to visit Tokyo in the third week of March after stepping down as head of the interim government to participate in a joint ocean research initiative with the prestigious Sasakawa Foundation. The chief advisor said that Bangladesh has already signed agreements with Japanese investors to send at least 1 lakh workers to Japan over the next 5 years and sought the support of Ms. Abe and the Japanese delegation to further increase worker recruitment. Professor Yunus said the interim government is fully prepared to hold free, fair and peaceful elections on February 12, after which he will return to his previous work. He reiterated that he has no intention of joining politics or holding any government or state position in the future. The Election Commission today resolved 41 appeal applications against returning officers' decisions regarding the candidature for the 13th National Parliamentary election. Of this, 24 applications were rejected and 4 applications were suspended. The Commission shared this information after completing the hearing of the appeals at Nirbachon Bhavan in Agargaon. The EC also said that the appeal hearing for the Pabna 2 constituency was not held due to the suspension of election activities in the constituency. The Commission added that one independent candidate from the Chattogram 5 constituency withdrew his appeal application. According to the EC, an appeal from the Mymensingh 4 constituency was approved by the Commission. The appeal hearing began at 10 a.m. and concluded at 5 p.m. with Chief Election Commissioner AMM Nasiruddin presiding. 4 election commissioners and the EC Senior Secretary also took part in the hearing sessions. The appeal hearing will continue until January 18. The head of the European Union Election Observation Mission, Yves Aizabs, met with Jamaat-e-Islami Bangladesh Amir Dr. Shafiqur Rahman. During the meeting, discussions were held on the upcoming national parliamentary election in February. At the meeting, the EU delegation sought information on Jamaat's election preparations, the progress of political consensus, the law and order situation, and the issue of a level playing field in the election. Dr. Shafiqur Rahman said they are hopeful that the consensus will be finalized by tomorrow. He also said that if there are any concerns regarding the election, this will first be communicated to the Election Commission and the government. However, if satisfactory solutions are not found, the matter will be conveyed to the international community. He stated that if Jamaat-Islami comes to power, it will maintain good relations with civilized countries and neighboring nations on the basis of equality. Mentioning that the party is receiving support from all sections of society, he also pledged to ensure the safety of mothers and sisters. The Jamaat Army also called on voters to go to polling centers themselves and cast their own votes. He said that Jamaat-Islami Bangladesh is in favor of reforms and has taken a position in support of a yes vote in the referendum. BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir said that if voted to power, the BNP would secure Bangladesh's rightful share of water from India through discussions based on mutual respect. He said the party would work to ensure a fair share of water from common rivers including the Podda and the Tista through dialogue. Mirza Fakhrul made the remarks while speaking to a group of journalists at his residence in Takugal this morning. He also said a sound electoral atmosphere currently prevails in the country, adding that the real field situation would become clearer once the formal election campaign begins. Referring to the exclusion of cricketer Mustafizur Rahman from IPL, the BNP leader said that insulting a national cricketer amounts to insulting the nation. Special Assistant to the Chief Advisor Professor Ali Riaz has said a mandate of the voters on the July Charter is indispensable for future Bangladesh state structure and full-length establishment of democracy. Important decisions on how the state will run and how the Judiciary, Election Commission and Anti-Corruption Commission will function independently will come through the referendum. He said, adding that for this reason electorals should cast yes vote in the referendum. Ali Riaz said this while addressing a conference of Imams of Rajshahi Division at Hajr Shah Maktoum Idgah in Rajshahi today. District Administration and Islamic Foundation organized the conference aimed at publicity for the referendum and motivating the voters. CA's Special Assistants Monir Haider and local government officials also spoke while Director General of Islamic Foundation Abdus Salam Khan was in the chair. Professor Ali Riaz said some differences among the political parties were seen on the issue of signing of the July National Charter, but there was no difference among them on holding referendum. He said the political parties reached a consensus related to the referendum as it's a historical scope to get direct opinion of the people. Referring to the experiences of the previous elections, he said the people want to give vote spontaneously, but the process was obstructed repeatedly. Professor Ali Riaz also said if the people give verdict to the fundamental structure of state operation, the next governments will be compelled to function according to the people's will. The International Crimes Tribunal has set 10 February as the date to begin the opening statements and witness examination after formally framing charges against Anisul Haq and Salman F. Rahman on 5 counts, including imposing a curfew during the July Masjid uprising and aiding and instigating killings by holding a meeting with business leaders at the Gonu Bhavan. The order was issued today by International Crimes Tribunal 1 led by Justice Golam Mortuja Mujumdar. Later, prosecutor Mizanul Islam briefed journalists. He said the accused assisted in instigation the killing of 30 people during the July Masjid uprising and in the unlawful enforcement of the curfew. Earlier, the prosecution held a hearing on the framing of charges on 22 December while lawyers representing Anisul Haq and Salman F. Rahman presented their arguments on 6 January. Meanwhile, the same tribunal has ordered that the investigation report into the Shapla Chotra killings of 5th May 2013 be submitted by 5th February. In addition, International Crimes Tribunal 1 has directed that the investigation report in the case of the killing of 11 people, including Chhatrodol leader Wasim in Chattogram during the July Masjid uprising, be submitted by 15 March. In the morning, a total of 11 accused arrested in these 3 separate cases were produced before the tribunal. The ICC security team has identified 3 issues in a letter to the Bangladesh Cricket Board (BCB) that it said could escalate security risks for the Bangladesh cricket team if it visits India, Youth and Sports Advisor Professor Asif Nazrul said. According to the letter, the advisor said 3 factors may increase the security risk for the Bangladesh team. The first is the inclusion of Mustafizur Rahman in the Bangladesh squad. The second is Bangladeshi players roaming in public wearing the national jersey. The third is that the security risk would increase if the tour coincides with a period close to the national election. Terming the ICC's observations as weird and irrational, the advisor said the ICC cannot expect Bangladesh to exclude its best bowler during an India tour. Nor can it expect supporters to refrain from wearing the national jersey. He also said it is highly impractical to extend the national election schedule solely for a cricket series in India. Professor Asif Nazrul made these remarks while visiting the office of the Bangladesh Football Federation. He further observed that there should be no monopoly by any country over cricket. If the ICC is unable to ensure a fair approach and continues to act under India's influence, Bangladesh should be given the opportunity to play in Sri Lanka instead. He asserted that there is no room for Bangladesh to compromise on these issues. Since the announcement of the schedule for the 13 national parliamentary elections, the country has been abuzz with election fever. At the same time, the atmosphere has become full of campaign activity. In every district and in gathering of people, discussions about the election environment naturally come up. People from all walks of life hope that the parties and candidates participating in the elections will have a spirit of fair competition. Everyone expects that the Election Commission will properly ensure that the code of conduct is being followed on the voting field. Moreover, it is hoped that those who win and form the government will focus on establishing harmony and peace in society. After a long time, the country has a seemingly favorable backdrop for the much anticipated normal election. There is also assurance of a conducive environment. At this pivotal time of the elections, it is as if voters are preparing a basket of expectations. Based on experience and prevailing reality, people's primary desire is the assurance that they can cast their votes themselves without any hassle. It is extremely important to ensure that the Election Commission does not face questions, objections and criticisms as it did in the past, according to analysts. Just like the Commission, there is also strong hope this time that the transparency of the voter list will be maintained. People today have a strong desire for a corruption-free nation, stability, compassion, and a positive political culture. Many argue that fundamental economic reforms and the creation of financial and social support networks to ensure equality and justice must be prioritized. The sum of all desires is that from this new year, a stable political environment and fully people-oriented leadership should emerge, and that the representatives elected by the people will reject divisive politics, prioritize the country's economic and social development, and be mindful of maintaining social stability and peace. This is what civil society wishes for.